Hey guys, it's Amber. So today's video is going to be an Ask a Stylist. In my last video I did how to cut your own bangs, and I asked you guys if you had any questions, and although I didn't receive very many, I did receive a couple, and one of them I'm going to do today is, I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm just gonna put the name up here on the bottom. And she said, when I go get highlights and lowlights, my hair will look like it has a gray cast to it for several weeks. Why? I don't have this issue with all stylists, just the ones that live in my area. Thanks. So, all right, so today I'm going to be covering kind of like color theory a little bit 101 and toning, and why sometimes when you get highlights in your hair, they turn weird colors. So right here I have all the shades of hair from black to blonde, and then there's gray. So basically, if you've got blonde hair, your hair would be in essence a level 10. Now in some hair color brands they'll do an 11 or 12, which are like super platinum, but usually it just goes from 10 to 1. 1 being black, 5 being your medium brown. So these are basically the levels of hair. So if you ever go in and somebody's like, oh, I'm a level 6, and you're like, what the heck does that mean? Well, basically a level 6 is going to be 1 shade lighter than your medium brown, and so forth and so on. So basically there's 2 ways to lighten hair. One is with a color, and that has to be used on hair that hasn't previously had color on it before. So that would be your regrowth or all of your hair if you've never dyed your hair. Or 2 would be a lightener or a bleach. And that's going to remove all the pigment out of your hair, whether it's colored or not colored. Of course, condition of your hair, how dark your hair is, all that is going to depend on what shade you get. But typically you're gonna have colors and lighteners. When you use a lightener, you're gonna get the lightest shade of blonde, which is usually more of a platinum shade, more of the white blonde. So if you have 10, you know, which is gonna be close to kind of what my hair is, you go to 11, 12, you can imagine that really pale white blonde that you see is going to be the lightest shade you can usually get. It's really hard to get your hair to go white because it's super damaging, and after it goes white, it typically gets really mushy and yucky, so you want to be really careful when you're bleaching your hair not to get it to that stage. When you are going into the salon to get your highlights, if you're having a color done, usually the color will end up being more of a honey tone or a golden tone. It's really hard to get those really pale blondes with hair color unless you're already naturally really light. My natural hair is about a level between a 7 and an 8, so it's kind of a dark blonde, so I can use hair color to get a light blonde out of my hair if I choose, but it never goes as blonde as a lightener does. So if you've gone into the salon and they're using lightener to lighten your hair, it usually goes through a couple different stages of lightening. So I'm going to use these color shades right here for an example. So if you've got brown hair and you're lightening it, it kind of goes to an orangey stage, and then to more of a gold stage, and then to more of a yellow stage. Well, for some people's hair, especially when it's really dark, those orange and yellow pigments really come out, and that's what we call brass. You know, if you've gone to the hairdresser or someone's gone and you're like, oh my gosh, their hair is brassy, it is horrible, it is orange, it's yellow, it's yucky. So to combat that, hairstylists use toners. Now what toners are is they use the color wheel to counteract whatever color is the opposite to make a neutral color. So red and green are opposite. So if you mix red and green together, you get a neutral. Yellow and purple are opposite. So if you mix those together, you get a neutral. Orange and blue, and so on and so forth. In all hair color lines, you're gonna have different shades that are gonna have different undertones. So you're going to have violet toners and kind of ash green toners, and ones that have more of a bluish base to them, and those are used to counteract pigments in the hair that are unwanted, like yellow and orange. If you have hair that is a little bit yellowy, a lot of times they'll take something like a 10 violet, which would be a pale blonde, and that would be with a violet cast to it, and over blonde hair it'll pretty much tone it to be more of a platinum shade. Now, you can see from the swatch what happens if you leave that toner on too long. That hair turns to that whitish pale blonde stage. Then after, it starts accepting the pigment that's on it. So if it's already gone to white, then it's gonna start going darker. And what pigment is it gonna pick up? It's gonna pick up the blue tone, the green tone, the gray tone, whatever kind of toner they used on your hair, that's the pigment it's gonna start picking up. So in a nutshell, the reason why your hair kind of has a gray ashy cast to it after you get it colored is because your stylist is putting a toner on it and she's leaving it on too long. Or she's not picking the correct toner for your hair. So maybe you could ask her not to tone the hair, maybe you could see the hair before she tones it and decide maybe you like a little bit of that warmth and the honeyness to your hair. And sometimes the hair color will pull unevenly. Maybe some pieces are orange and some pieces aren't. In that case, your stylist really should pull those pieces out individually, put them in a foil, and apply the toner directly to the strands that need it, because if you put it all over, those little hairs that are bright white, they're gonna suck that toner up so fast and they're gonna turn gray. And I have seen hair turn purple and blue and all kinds of colors. I have seen hair turn lots of those colors. I saw a lady in the salon that was working next to me and I saw her put a straight blue violet toner on this girl, and she went over, started working on another client, and I thought, that girl's hair is gonna turn blue. That girl's hair is gonna turn blue. And sure enough, guess what happened? That girl's hair turned blue. So she goes to rinse it out and she's like, oh my gosh, don't panic, but your hair is blue. And I'm like, saw that one coming from a million miles away. So then she had to go back, refoil the hair and bleach it out again, which was damaging. So if you have blonde hair and you're trying to dye your hair darker, be really careful about what undertones are in the color that you're using. Typically, anything with an N is going to mean natural or neutral, and that could be warm or cool depending on the brand. Anything with an A is going to mean ash. You might see AG, which is ash green, AB, which is ash blue. Of course, every line, like I said, is going to be different, but that's kind of the rule of thumb. Anytime you see something with a V, you're gonna have more of a violet tone. So if you're ever dyeing your hair dark, you wanna make sure that you use something with a lot of warmth in it, because if you use an ash brown over blonde hair, it's gonna turn green, because that blonde hair has no pigment in it. You're gonna see those undertones a lot more than if you had dark hair. So you just wanna make sure you know what kind of pigments are in the color. If you don't know, tips would be warm, golden, honey, caramel, chocolate, all of those kind of lend towards more warm tones, where words like champagne and ash and cool, and those kind of lend towards more of the ashy side of things. So just kind of read your labels, ask your stylist what she's using. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Don't forget to leave your comments and questions down below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!